Hello my friends, and welcome back to another travel guide from Tales from the Road. Today, because you clicked on this video, we are talking obviously about the beautiful Northwest Balkan nation of Slovenia. I just spent 6 days in this beautiful country, taking note of all the cool things to do and see there, and I'm back with my report. So, come along as we unpack this beautiful Balkan gem. This video is sponsored by Fluentalk T1 Mini translation device. So thank you to Fluentalk for sponsoring this video. Let's get into the content. As we always do, let's do a little country overview of Slovenia so we can get to know this place a little bit better. Historically speaking, Slovenia is at the crossroads of Europe. Sitting on the Adriatic Sea, near the Alps, near many great empires, Slovenia has been incorporated into so many different things. They were part of the Roman Empire for a long time, just like every other country around it, and you can see some Roman ruins, which is very cool and unexpected in that sort of region, especially just like it's not what comes to mind for sure. The second part of Slovenia that is really deeply rooted in the modern day Slovenia is its presence in the Austro-Hungarian Empire. During this time, they built a lot of the architecture, that sort of charm-like, fairy tale-like cities with the castles and all of this stuff. During this time, the Slovenians were always repressed, and this is a big part of their national identity and their national story. During the Austro-Hungarian reign, they were always trying to Germanify these people. They were trying to change the names of their cities. They were trying to make everyone learn German, and they actually made it illegal to speak Slovenian for a very long time in any sort of sense that's not just at home with your family. The Slovenes, however, pushed through, and during that time they of course built a lot of great things. They had a lot of very smart people doing awesome stuff, but they never had the representation that they wanted. After World War I and the Austro-Hungarian Empire fell, it was time to do something new, and they decided to join Yugoslavia, the socialist union that dominated the southern Balkan region for just about 50 years. During this time, of course, you get a lot of national identity, you get a lot of positives, and of course you get a lot of negatives. You can see the brutalist architecture in some of the cities from this time. And for many, Yugoslavia was very good, but very bad at the same time, very limiting, but very freeing. If you asked modern Slovenians today, do they like their country better today or in the olden time? Your answer is really going to depend on what generation of person you're talking about. Since then, though, since the fall of Yugoslavia, Slovenia has been incorporated very quickly into the European Union. Slovenia itself has always been very tied to Europe, and it feels much more Central European and not super Balkan in a lot of ways. So being part of the European Union for almost 15 years, they were the first Balkan nation to join fully the European Union, integrate into the Euro space, use the Euro, and do the whole thing. That was, of course, a big benefit for the people. So the country itself is revolutionizing, it's upgrading, it's getting technological, and it's becoming one of Europe's little secret gems. Visas. The good news is for Americans and probably Canadians, Slovenia is incredibly easy to visit. You can stay up to 90 days in the country as it's part of the greater European Union Schengen zone. So you don't even need to cross a border into Slovenia if you arrive to another European country in the Schengen zone itself. Also, Croatia just entered the European Union Schengen zone as well, so now you can travel basically in all directions from Slovenia without having to cross a border. Money. The good news about Slovenia, if you're traveling around Europe and you happen to pop into the country, is that they use the euro. The euro is basically $1 to 90 cents euro, so it's pretty much one-to-one in a lot of scenarios. Slovenia is on the cheap end of euro-using countries, so you can average maybe 3 to 4 euros for a drink. We actually found glasses of wine in a lot of restaurants for 1 or 2 euros, which was awesome. You can do different sorts of bus trips, day trips that aren't crazy expensive, certainly not going to break the bank. A meal was also quite cheap, something like, 10 to 15 euros per person, which is a really good deal in comparison to Western Europe. Hotels and other accommodations were a bit on the pricey side for what I considered normal in Slovenia, but we were staying at an Airbnb for around 120 euros a night in the city center of Ljubljana, and about 85 euros in Maribor, which is in the east, which is the second city of Slovenia. This is what I would say on the Tales from the Road. Is it an inexpensive destination score? I would say that Slovenia is a 3 out of 5. It's certainly not going to break the bank, but it's certainly more expensive than most of Eastern Europe. Transportation. Slovenia is not that big, so getting around the country is very easy by car, by bus, and then if you're flying to Slovenia, you're probably going to fly to the capital city of Ljubljana, but if you can't fly there because it's too expensive, you can certainly fly to Zagreb, Croatia, which is actually what I did when I took my trip, and then took a 2-hour bus to Slovenia. It's only about an hour from the border of Slovenia to the capital of Croatia, Zagreb. Or you could also fly into the Italian city of Trieste, which I know has a better connection to a lot of other places, specifically if you're going to Italy after your trip to Slovenia. Slovenia also has a nice integrated system of rail between each one of their major cities, so getting from point A to point B really is not that hard. Buses, trains, planes, cars, whatever you want, Slovenia's got it for you. Safety. Slovenia itself is incredibly safe from what I can tell. The only thing that you'd have to worry about is, of course, the European pickpocket thing. So watch your bag, watch your phone. But other than that, it's a very modernized country with a very good standard of services. There's a nice police presence in all of the cities. And I noticed there was very little homelessness in the entire country, which makes for a very safe, family-friendly environment. Next up, we're going to talk about Slovenia and their language. And there's no better way to do this than talking to a local. Now, I have Slovenian friends, and luckily my Slovenian friends speak English. But if you go to Slovenia and you find yourself in a mountain rural town needing some advice, having no Slovenian language, this is where our sponsor for today's video can come in. So the pressure's on, the Slovenians are asking you questions. It's time to pull out your Fluentalk Mini Translator. Once you open the box, activate it, and connect it to the internet, you will have a small translation device just like this that will fit anywhere, anytime, that's actually really easy to use. This thing has 3 really cool features. The first being that you can use this entire device only using this button. You hold it down when you talk, it translates into your target language, and you hold it down when the person of the other language, maybe the Slovenian, is talking back to you. Rapid response, rapid translation. Very cool. Secondly, it turns on really quickly in emergency situations. So let's say there's a last jar of honey and you're fighting a Slovenian grandma to get it and you need to make that translation to make this purchase happen. You can turn it on and boom, you are translating. The last great feature of this translation app is that you get 1 year of global data-free access, which means that you can translate on the go without being connected to internet or Wi-Fi. This thing translates in 36 different languages with 88 different accents, so if you're in some rural part of some country, the chance that this is going to understand it is still pretty high, and it has a 95% accuracy rate. This also has photo translation in 39 different languages, so you can just snap a quick photo in case you're not feeling up to translating or you're not comfortable using like the weird alphabet that many other countries have, and you'll be able to understand something extremely quickly. All this talk about translating languages makes me really hungry to know more about the Slovenian language. The Slovenian language itself is a northwestern Balkan language, and it comes from the Slavic root of languages. That's a lot of Eastern European countries, Russian, Ukrainian, Polish, and then of course it's much closer to the Southern Slavic root languages like Serbian, Croatian, Montenegrin, Bosnian, Bulgarian, Macedonian, and those things. While Slovenian is definitely its own language, they can pretty much understand a lot of things from those sort of former Yugoslav countries. So before Martin joins, the first thing we've got to do is change the language setting to Slovenian, a language that's uncommon, but is translated. Martin!
Hey guys.
Let's see if this works. So, what are some of your favorite Slovenian foods?
Moja izbira menija je za začetek goveja juha, potem goveji zrezek s krompirjem in za zaključek jabolčni štrudelj.
My menu choice is to start beef soup, then beef steak with potatoes, and finish the apple strudel.
Okay, let's go. Talk, let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, that was good.
What is your favorite place to visit in Slovenia?
Kateri je vaš najljubši kraj za obisk v Sloveniji?
Oh, that's perfect. Najboljša stvar v Sloveniji, po mojem, je to, da je vse tako kompaktno. Začneš v glavnem mestu, občutiš našo zgodovino, kulturo, in potem se odpraviš proti Julijskim Alpam, tam greš malo v gore, pohodi, jezera, hlad in 100 kilometrov južneje, potem greš na morje. Piran, Portorož, malo se kopati. In 1 uro stran si že nazaj v Ljubljani, kjer lahko greš letalom z avtom nazaj domov.
The best thing about Slovenia, I think, is that everything is so compact in the capital. You feel our history, the culture of the and then you head for the Julian Alps. That's where you go to the mountains hiking the lake. A lot. And 100 kilometers south. Then you go to see Pirana. Take a bath and you're back in Ljubljana an hour away, where you can go back to the plane behind the car.
So what do we think? Slovenian works?
Yeah, Slovenian works, man. You're not gonna get lost.
Okay.
But you speak it, so that's okay, huh?
But the good news is that most Slovenians speak English. So I think that's the good news if you're traveling to Slovenia.
Yeah, it is, right?
I would say so. I mean, my mom was like, she was like, "Oh my God, like everyone here speaks such good English. Why is it when I go to Spain, no one speaks English, but in Slovenia, it's like," and it's kind of true because like everybody, especially under the age of 30, just like killer at English. So now that we know all the ins and outs of the country, it's my favorite time. It's food time, baby. So Slovenian food, I think, is really cool. And why it's really cool is because it's very much Austro-Hungarian influenced. Central European vibes, big sausage, big pieces of meat, potatoes, fries, cabbage-based dishes, which is very, very good, not going to lie. The thing that's cool about Slovenian food is that since it was in Yugoslavia, it has taken some of this Balkan-ness that comes from more of the southern Slavic Balkan states like Macedonia, like Serbia, like Bulgaria, and they also have incorporated their food culture, which sometimes feels like it doesn't fit, but I'm glad it's there because it gives another option. So you can find the very traditional Bosnian favorites like cevapcici, you can find the different types of Balkan breads, you can find baklava, you can find different sorts of kebabs. So they've got the sort of Eastern Balkan thing going, but in a very, very Central European, almost Austrian sort of feel. One of the national dishes of Slovenia that I actually made in a cooking class in Ljubljana was called strudli. This is where I can shout out Island of Ljubljana. It's owned by a young up-and-coming entrepreneur who's actually sharing a space with his brother, and they're focusing on 2 really famous dishes from Slovenia, one being called strudli, as I just said, which is a rolled pastry filled with a cottage cheese or quark. Then sometimes, well, you can really add whatever you want into it, but it's really like national dish of Slovenia. The Croatians also have a similar dish, a little bit different, but same sort of concept. They also do potica, which is this sort of Christmas bread that's also rolled, stuffed with nuts and raisins and stuff, also a super delightful dish. So to end the video, let's discuss some places you need to see on your trip to Slovenia. Number 1, you have to go to Ljubljana, the capital, the city of dragons, a city with a beautiful castle right at its heart, and a lot of spirit. I really like Ljubljana. It's very pretty. The city center is so gorgeous. It's very Austro-Hungarian, very like empirical, really good vibes, really good restaurants. They have a nice river that cuts through it, and it's a great place to experience the youthful vibe of a modern capital city in an up-and-coming sort of Central European country. Another thing you can do is go to the city of Maribor, and to the east, there's a lot of other very pretty cities on your way towards Croatia, kind of tucked up in the mountains. Maribor also sits on a river and has a lot of similarities to a lot of other cities in Slovenia, but it is the second city, it is very beautiful, and it has actually like an old Jewish presence as well as some very old churches and things to see. It actually has the oldest grapevine in the entire world, that's what they say, and you can actually try source grapes from that vine. So you're drinking the oldest wine in modern Europe. I have no idea if France debates that, but that is what the Slovenians say. A good day trip from there would be to go to a little town called Ptuj. Very, very beautiful, very storybook, sort of Germanic. Really nice food, very nice little walks. Again, nice castle on the hill. It's all about the castles in Slovenia. It's a very cool little castle spot. The last thing I'd recommend to really do in Slovenia, besides of course the major cities, is number 1, go to the biggest tourist site in the country, go to Lake Bled, beautiful sort of like medium altitude lake in an alpine region, castle, blue waters, church in the center on an island. I mean, it's gorgeous, one of the most gorgeous places in the world. I've been there a couple times and it's like, it ranks high. The second would be to go to the Adriatic coast near the sort of near Croatia, where it kind of cuts on the coastline. You don't really think of that being a thing to do in Slovenia, but it's really beautiful. And of course, the closer you get to the coast, the closer you get to Italy. And you can try that unique blend of Central European food, Italian food, that sort of blend of culture. My friend Martin, who we just met, he actually speaks pretty fluent Italian because he was born on a place that was very close to the border. Very cool, very unique, all Slovenian, all good times. Lastly, and what a lot of people do in Slovenia, they go into the mountains, they go hiking and exploring, they go into some various cave systems, they go find some nice waterfalls with pure mountain spring water, and they just enjoy a day out in the Slovenian Alps, maybe the most beautiful part of Slovenia itself. So that is gonna do it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, you're an absolute legend. Slovenia is a cool place and I recommend it. I know it doesn't have like the name value of Croatia, it doesn't have the branding of Italy, but it's right in between and it's pretty damn good. If you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. I have a Patreon if you want to support the channel. I'm still doing my 197 food videos challenge where I'm cooking a dish from every country in the world. You can write your country and I will definitely make your dish. I've done a couple from Slovenia. You can find it on my Instagram and my TikTok below if you want. If you don't want to, we're at the end of the video. Maybe you can watch another video from Tales from the Road here. Sounds good? Thank you guys. See you next time.